Hi, my name is Ryan Treat. I'm a sergeant in the United States Army and a two-tour veteran of Operation Iraqi Freedom. My MOS is 25 Papa. That's a WAN network technician. And I support Ron Paul for three main reasons. One is his non-interventionist foreign policy. I like his ideas about how our military shouldn't be used to police the world and we shouldn't be used for nation building. He thinks that we should have an America First foreign policy where our military is actually used for national defense. And as a constitutionalist, he believes that we should only go to war when Congress declares war. And so we won't find ourselves with a Paul presidency where we're at war with 7 different countries bombing basically anybody in the Middle East or anywhere that doesn't take our bribes overseas. I think that his ideas about Social Security and the entitlement plans are spot on, and how he wants to draw down the size of our empire and use that money to fund the entitlements of Medicare and the Social Security for the elderly, while allowing young people like myself to opt out, because I'm not under any illusion that Social Security is going to be a viable program that will benefit me and citizens my age by the time we reach retirement age, because it will be either bankrupt or unviable as a program. I think that I can do more with my money than the government ever could. They haven't proven to be good stewards of my money. I know that I could invest it and get a better return on it. Anyways, Social Security is all it is a contract that I never signed into, and government uses force to take that money from me, and there's no guarantee that I'll ever get that money back. There's no guarantee that they're going to use that money in a way that I would approve of, and basically they're taking a portion of my life, because I work for that. So Ron Paul's ideas on Social Security to me are spot on. I want out. I don't have any interest in relying on a government fake insurance program to support me in my old age. I'm more than comfortable taking care of myself and providing for my own needs. I just think that's one aspect the government should stay out of our lives. So the third thing is Ron Paul's ideas to audit the Fed. The Fed's responsible for the most insidious tax of all, and that's the inflation tax. And basically the way the inflation tax works is the cost of goods goes up. So you don't realize that your money has less purchasing power. So you keep getting your paycheck every week and every month, and it stays the same, or you might get a cost of living raise and you think that you're doing well, but the cost of a loaf of bread goes from 79 cents to 99 cents to $1.29, and your money's not buying the same thing year to year that it's always been able to. And the worst thing about that is people don't even realize they're being taxed. Ron Paul's the only person really talking about the Fed. Well, some people talk about the Fed now because he's made it popular, but he's been talking about the Fed for 20 years. So I think if I'm gonna vote for somebody, I'm gonna go with the guy who's wrote a book called End the Fed and who's been studying the Federal Reserve and their effect on our monetary policy, for the last 25 years. The thing about monetary policy is it never changes. You go from Clinton to Bush to Obama, and the monetary team stays the same. Monetary policy is never even addressed, and that's our money. That's what we use. That's what is given to us for the wages of our labor. And to not have strong monetary policy is basically a slap in the face to the American worker. And Ron Paul's the only person that respects our life and our time enough to make sure that we have a sound money. And he's studied his whole life of Austrian economic principles, sound money, and not just printing money out of thin air to pay our bills. And the reason that I think veterans and members of the military should support Ron Paul is really quite simple. As a member of the military, I've taken an oath to support and defend the Constitution, and Ron Paul, as a member of Congress, has also taken that same oath. But he's really the only one that upholds it. He has a 24-year history of being a strict constitutionalist. Some people say he's never even made a vote in Congress that isn't constitutional. He has a nickname called Dr. No, because so many times he's voted no, even when the vote was 434 to 1. So that's something that all veterans and members of the military have in common with Dr. Paul, is that oath to support and defend the Constitution that so many other people have seemed to have forgotten. In addition to that, Dr. Paul's also the only veteran that's running for the GOP nomination. So he has an understanding of the effect that it has both on military, active duty military and their families, as well as veterans, and the troubles that they have when they get out of the military, when they come home with the VA. And with his idea of shrinking government, he said that it's horrible what we do to our veterans, where they go out and they fight these wars and they come home and they have PTSD, and we have problems with suicides and problems with veterans not being able to get the help that they need, and supposedly we don't have the money to take care of them, but we have the money to study how fast ketchup flows, and it's really ridiculous. And Dr. Paul would definitely address that problem. So I just like to tell everybody to go out and do your research on Ron Paul. He's sometimes his policies aren't easy to understand. Sometimes you got to read a little bit, because it's so different from what the mainstream media tells you. So go out, do your research on Ron Paul, and you will find that he's right. So do your research and vote for Ron Paul. Support Ron Paul in 2012.